Hello, everybody, and welcome to Deep Dive Plugins for Marketing Materials. My name is Karistina Lafae, and I'm your host for Plugin School, aka Deep Dive Plugins. My wonderful co-host, as always, is Tomas. After class, we'd love it if you left feedback for us. We especially love your comments and your five-star reviews, and thank you for all those that you've been sending in lately. Um, I have some stuff that you can look at here about my screen and how to find the plugin directory at editor.sudowrite.com/app/plugins. My YouTube channel is not up to date, but you can find class recordings in the course videos channel on the Sudowrite Discord server within a week or so after class takes place. About Sudowrite plugins. Sudowrite plugins are created by your fellow Sudowrite users. We do this for free and often for our own specific needs. As such, plugin maintenance is not always on the radar of plugin authors who may have moved on to different ways to do things. So our older plugins might not work the way they used to due to changes with the LLMs that they utilize. LLMs, or large language models, are constantly changing how they work, what their restrictions are, much output they'll produce, etc. And these things will change without us plugin authors even being aware of it. That's why some of our previous go-to plugins will sometimes break or produce unwanted results, and this is why we still develop new plugins as the need arises. As a disclaimer, class information was accurate as of February 24th, 2025, and the link to the class document was shared in chat. Please hold your questions until the end and use the raise hand function to make sure no one gets talked over while their question is being addressed. So, this class is plugins for marketing materials. There are a number of different types of marketing materials you should be able to create for your books or your author profile in general, and not all of them require the same skill set as being able to write your books. So that's where plugins come in handy. Um, as a note, some of these plugins were created specifically for this class due to some gaps in plugin coverage. When I was looking into the types of marketing materials I should probably be um, covering in class, and I do encourage other plugin authors to create alternative versions because if you're active on Discord, you saw I just generated a couple of these earlier this afternoon because there weren't existing things, and they're kind of in beta form. Okay, so the first one I wanted to show you is a multi-purpose marketing plugin called Story Bible-based book materials. Um, this plugin was created by Samuel R. Boylan Jr. It has medium credit usage, um, and it will look at your, because we can see the instructions to the LLM here. It looks at your genre, style, synopsis, characters, and outline. And it uses the information in these story Bible elements to create 5 titles, 5 taglines, 5 loglines, 5 short blurbs, 5 long blurbs, and 5 social media posts per platform for Twitter, Facebook page, Instagram, Facebook group, Goodreads, and TikTok with appropriate emojis and hashtags. Um, so let's take a look at what this can do. I believe this is just a glitch here because I already have it added. We're going to look at Frankenstein, which is one of my demonstration projects imported from Project Gutenberg. And we want to look at the Bible. Here we go. Story Bible based book materials. And we just need to wait a minute for it to get started here. Okay. Um, I know that the output of this plugin is pretty extensive, so let's look at how many credits it costs first. Cost 2,862 credits to run it on our Frankenstein story Bible. Um, it suggests 5 titles, um, where we know it's just called Frankenstein uh, but it goes into Frankenstein's ghostly creation, the tragic experiment, a tale of ambition and horror, monstrous desires, a gothic saga of life and revenge, the Prometheus Project, unleashing the darkness within, and Shadows of Solitude, a philosophical journey into science gone wrong. I think that the original title, Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, is probably fine, but if it were to be written today, we might want to go with something a little more ready for social media, I guess. Taglines. When science plays God, darkness awakens. In pursuit of knowledge, he created his own nightmare. I like that one. A monster born from ambition seeks vengeance in the darkness. What happens when science meets tragedy? Prepare for the unexpected. Or, the line between life and death is shattered in this chilling tale. It gives us some log lines we could use in our marketing. We have one, a brilliant scientist's creation turns into a nightmare when his ambition leads to tragic consequences. Two, in a world of philosophical exploration and scientific experimentation, one man dares to play with the boundaries of life and death with disastrous results. Three, a creature abandoned by its creator seeks both revenge and understanding in a gothic tale filled with tragedy and horror. Four, love, loss, and the perils of unchecked ambition collide in this philosophical science fiction novel about a scientist's creation gone wrong. Five, an epic saga of monstrous proportions unfolds as a young scientist's ambitious quest for knowledge leads to devastating consequences. We have short blurbs here. Um, we have dive into the dark depths of ambition and tragedy as a young scientist unleashes a monster upon the world in Mary Shelley's iconic Gothic horror novel, Frankenstein. So now it's getting a little more into what it knows of the story. When it's the birth of a creature like no other in this haunting tale that delves into the dangers of playing with forces beyond human control. And it gives 3 more of those. We have some long blurbs. I'll read the first one as an example, but I won't waste everybody's time reading all of them. In Frankenstein, Mary Shelley weaves a spellbinding tale of ambition, tragedy, and the consequences of playing God. Follow the brilliant young scientist Victor Frankenstein as he becomes obsessed with unlocking the secret of life itself. As he delves deeper into his research, Victor's isolation from family and friends grows, culminating in a horrifying creation that he swiftly abandons. What follows is a haunting exploration of guilt, remorse, and the relentless pursuit of revenge as both Victor and his monstrous creation grapple with the nature of their existence. Filled with gothic horror, philosophical musings, and heart-wrenching tragedy, Frankenstein stands as a timeless masterpiece that delves into the human psyche and questions the very essence of humanity. This long blurb is what you might want to use in your book descriptions on Amazon or other platforms. Um, and it did give us 5 different variations of that. Why not? We'll read the 5th one just to compare it to the first one. We have discover Mary Shelley's masterpiece, Frankenstein, through a gripping tale that combines elements of Gothic horror, tragedy, and philosophical contemplation. In this iconic novel, Victor Frankenstein's relentless pursuit of knowledge leads him to create life itself, but sets in motion a series of events that will haunt him forever. Through vivid prose and evocative imagery, Shelley delves into themes of isolation, morality, and the limits of human ambition. Join us on this journey as we explore the depths of Victor's guilt-ridden psyche and witness the tragic consequences that unfold when man dares to play God. Frankenstein, or it gives us hashtags. This is a bit long for something that would be hashtagged, but hashtag Frankenstein, hashtag Gothic horror, Hashtag philosophical sci-fi, hashtag tragedy. I guess you could put that in a Facebook post. Um, and that would benefit from that only gave us, I don't know, did that give us everything? Yeah, it did not give us all of the results that I was expecting to see here. I've run it before and gotten absolutely everything it suggested in the description. Um, I'm gonna give it another try. Oh, Tomas?
Hi, Bruce had a question. I don't know if it's for here, but it's where do you use tagline, log, and short blurbs, et cetera, in marketing? I know you said the one thing you would use, the hashtags you might use in Facebook.
Great. Um, there are a number of different places you could use these things. Um, if you're in traditional publishing, there there are specific places that you use them. I am not very well versed in the actual the actual terminology and what belongs where. I just know that it's helpful for me in my independent promos to use um taglines are really great for short format stuff. So like um you could put that as a quick blurb in like a tweet or something like that. Yeah, or I know on Ream, if you publish anything on Ream, they have a place for a tagline too, that only allows a certain number of characters. There are various places that will have room for just a tagline. Um, Places that allow slightly more characters, is when you can use the log line, which is a little bit longer, a little bit um more detailed, but still brief. Um, like if you're doing a description of an image, or if you're looking for something, a snippet in your newsletters or your Facebook ads and stuff like that. If somebody knows better than this, please feel free to chime in. Um, as far as blurbs go, sometimes these go on your book jacket, um, either on the back cover, or if it's a hardcover and it has the flap in the front, you might put a blurb, like a long blurb on that front book flap. What else do we have here? Okay, it only went that far. So, um, I apologize for not actually knowing the industry stuff with marketing. I just know that this content has been useful to me, um, in my own kind of like chaotic indie promotions. I'm gonna run this one more time though, just to see if it will give us all of the things that it was supposed to share. Because I know it can be good at doing, here we go, social media posts. It gives us some bite-sized tweets for Twitter, including emojis, which make them more eye-catching, and hashtags that help with discoverability. Um, Facebook page, you you get a lot more text to work with, but to do some attention grabbing stuff on your Facebook page, it gives you things also with emojis and hashtags like unleash your darkest fear and delve into the haunting world of Frankenstein, where science clashes with morality in an unforgettable tale of ambition and tragedy. Hashtag Frankenstein, hashtag gothic horror, hashtag science fiction. Instagram. It suggests some captions for some Instagram posts where you would also want to you'd also want to come up with images like either your book cover or other images that depict something happening in your book um, to post these blurbs on Instagram. You'd probably want to look into some uh, Instagram specific hashtags um, that it might not include here in the plugin output. Like you'd want to use hashtag Bookstagram. Um, if you're on TikTok, which does come later in this plugin's output, Book Talk is a hashtag you would want to use. Um, in Facebook groups, if you're allowed to post promos in a Facebook group, you could do something like calling all literature lovers, join us in discussing Mary Shelley's timeless masterpiece, Frankenstein. Share your thoughts on themes of ambition, tragedy, and the moral quandaries surrounding scientific exploration. Um, the thing about Facebook groups, you just want to make sure that self-promotion is allowed. A lot of groups do not allow it or only allow it at certain days, or on certain days or in a specific thread under a post, as a comment. That's a little caveat about Facebook groups because they all have their own rules. So just make sure you are following those. If you have a Goodreads page, which is a good idea to have because it is linked to Amazon. If you sell on Amazon, these are some things that you could post on your Goodreads as well. It did not get to TikTok, but occasionally it does allow you to do that. I did do a version of this plugin. I wanted to see what DeepSeek would do, and I forgot to add it to our class document. It is the exact same instructions as the original plugin, but it uses DeepSeek R1 instead. And I just like to compare the results running that instead. Now that we've seen what the original plugin does. You do have to wait a little bit for the plugin to run because DeepSeek takes a little more time.
Can I chime in here for a second
Mhm.
about the marketing materials? It's like I'm not an expert on this either, but I will say this: I've been to a lot of cons and pitch fests, and you never know what they're going to ask for. But
Mhm.
almost never ask for anything longer than a page, and it's called a one sheet. And even then, one sheets are rare. So almost anything anybody is going to ask you for has to be delivered short. In different
Yes.
variations of short. So um, it's just good to have this stuff ready, because anyone that asks you to see a whole anything or a treatment is
Mhm.
without paying you is probably bogus.
Good point. Um, yeah, that's a very good point. Um, just to take a look at what we have here with use running this as a DeepSeek plugin instead of the original GPT, it was less expensive, 1,360 credits as opposed to 2,490 or 2,862 the first times we ran that. It gives us some much shorter title suggestions. Promethean Shadows, The Anatomy of Hubris, Wretched Sparks, Monstrum Ex Machina, and Arctic Reckoning. Um, those are actually kind of cool for if you're looking to write a story. Those are great titles. If you want it to have Frankenstein vibes. I like Monstrum Ex Machina. Taglines. The greatest monster isn't what he created, it's what he became. Yes, because Frankenstein is not the monster, but Frankenstein is the monster. uh, Two, in chasing life's secret, he unleashed death's fury. 3, creators can abandon their work, but science never abandons its sins. Ooh. 4, what if your masterpiece swore revenge? 5, a spark of genius became an inferno of madness. So these are some real like attention grabbers. It doesn't tell you like the whole story, but it hooks you. We have some log lines here. A scientist's forbidden experiment births a sentient creature who demands answers or vengeance from his creator in this gothic meditation on ambition and ethics. 2. When Victor Frankenstein defies nature to create life, his rejected invention ignites a cycle of tragedy that consumes everyone he loves. 3. Obsession drives a man to play God. Betrayal drives his creation to become the devil in this haunting tale of unchecked science and broken humanity. These are pretty great too. And it's the type of thing where you can do some testing to see which resonates better with audiences. If you know anything about A/B testing, like ads and stuff like that, um, you can check that out if you like more than one of these. More than one of any of these, actually. For short blurbs, we have for fans of mortal terror, Victor Frankenstein's ambition birthed life from death, but his hubris birthed a monster hell-bent on destroying everything he holds dear. Uh, a timeless question. What happens when God hates his Adam? A twisted odyssey of abandonment and revenge at humanity's ethical brink. I don't know about you, but I'm liking the vibe of these a lot more than the original one. But I have used the original version of this plugin and loved it for a long time. Um, I just haven't published everything that I've used it on yet. Modern Prometheus meets Gothic tragedy. One man's quest for immortality becomes hell on earth when his creation demands accountability with blood. Ooh, the laboratorium is darker than the grave. Dive into the original sci-fi nightmare where science's triumph becomes mankind's curse. And we have better, longer blurbs too. I'm only going to read one of these because we do have other plugins I would like to look at, and it's already getting on to the halfway point here. So I'll just read this one. For readers of Shelley and Poe, from icy Arctic wastes to shadowed crypts where life stirs among corpses, Frankenstein redefined horror as we know it. Brilliant but arrogant Victor Frankenstein shatters nature's laws only to recoil at his own monstrous success, a sentient being cursed by its existence itself. As Victor spirals into guilt-ridden madness after his creation murders those he loves most, starting with innocent William. He faces an ultimatum: assemble another abomination as the creature's mate, or watch mankind perish in flames of revenge. Blending body horror with existential philosophy about creator versus created and free will versus fate. Shelley's masterpiece remains terrifyingly relevant today, perfect for fans of The Terror or Ex Machina. This is pretty great, although you'd have to decide whether or not you want to give away spoilers like that, starting with Innocent William. Um, and we've also got, oh, I'm loving this Facebook page thing right here, where we got perfect for fans of morally gray scientists, philosophical monsters, and icebound suspense. And it does give an example of the type of photo you would want to have accompanying this text. Instagram captions as well, Facebook groups, like this month's read, the OG speculative fiction novel that asked, should humanity play God? Let's dissect. I like that. Goodreads review style, TikTok script ideas. So yeah, I'm liking the output from this a bit better than the original because it seems that the GPT version is now cutting off early and not doing everything the plugin purports it's going to do. So that's a little bit disappointing. And that's not the fault of the original plugin author. That's because of ChatGPT changing the way it works. Um, an author website is something you really need to have um, as an author so that people know where to go look for you and learn more about you and see what other books you've written. Um, you want to have a link to your website on pretty much all of your marketing materials, and that includes your online stuff like your social media bios and also on your business cards that you hand out, um, or any like swag you might have as an author. If you have bookmarks and stuff as promotional materials, you want to have your website information on there. But you need to write your author bio, and it needs to sound professional. Um, I had a pretty cringeworthy author bio that I generated on here a long time ago. And I used this plugin to test it out to write a new um bio for me. And I was looking for volunteers before class who wanted a bio generated, but I guess what I'll do is I'll go ahead. Um, I copied over the original bad blurb, so I don't have that to work with, but I can take the bio it gave me and see if we can do this over again to see if it can make it even better. Let's go back here. And we're just going to quickly create a new blank document here. Now, this is not the plugin. This is the plugin. You're going to want to have a writing sample that includes your biographical details, genres that you write in, and list some of your selected published works, the ones you really want to highlight in your author bio. Um, these would probably be your most popular ones, the ones that have had the best sales, or if you're just starting out, you're just obviously going to have a more limited selection of things that people would know you from, but include anything like that, so they'd know, oh, that's who that person is. Um, so, okay, this is bio example. So it gave me this as my bio information. It includes all of the details that are supposed to be in there. And let's see what it can come up with that's different here. Again, this is DeepSeek. So did I do DeepSeek? Now I'm questioning myself. Yes, this is DeepSeek. So it takes a minute for it to start running. Um, So we've got Karistina Lafae, she, her, crafts boldly inclusive speculative fiction where magic collides with contemporary desires, blending queer intimacy with paranormal intrigue. A trailblazer, I'm not, I wouldn't go with that because I'm not. In urban fantasy romances that span costly entangled polyamorous bonds, sugar, spice, and everything nice, to sizzling supernatural encounters, one hell of a birthday party. She merges intricate world building with narratives that pulse with humor, agency, and raw emotional resonance. Her much anticipated it's talking me up a bit much, so you are going to want to read this to make sure it's not uh boasting too much about things that aren't quite true for you. Her much anticipated Warlocks and Werewolves series epitomizes this alchemy, a shared universe where shapeshifters debate workplace ethics alongside paranormal power struggles, all while navigating love stories as diverse as their heat levels, thoughtfully curated for reader comfort. Whether penning trans-led sapphic adventures, pride and joy, or immersive second-person escapades, nice to meet you, Lafae centers LGBTQ plus characters who command their stories without apology, spellcasters juggling ethical non-monogamy, or werewolves dismantling microaggressions between steamy moonlit trysts. So it does go on, but is is a little overblown as this is still better than what I had originally. You're just gonna have to trust me on that. And that cost us 419 credits. Um, I had a couple of paragraphs that I gave it there because that's the thing that it wrote for me earlier when I was testing the plugin. But you can just give it a list of facts like this is my pen name. Um, these are some of the things I've written. These are the genres I write in, and this is these are some of the tropes that I like to use. Um, and it will craft that into a bio for you. Um, with whatever information you give it. So that can be useful not just for your own website, but anywhere else you might need to have an author bio, like a retailer, uh, and other in publishing platforms. Then I wanted to look at book pages and book covers plugins. And we have a bunch of different things that are going to help you write your book blurbs. That was something that the first plugin that we looked at would do, but these will specifically write book blurbs for you that you would include um, in your book descriptions on your book pages, or possibly, like I said before, on your book jacket in any print version of your book. It's what people would read on the back cover to see whether or not they want to read your book. This looks at your outline and style, so we don't need to highlight anything. Let's see what it would do with Frankenstein Story Bible. And of course, it put my plugins. So we want enticing. And thank you to Estoin for writing this plugin. So this gave us just a quick short blurb. Captain Robert Walton's Arctic ambition leads him on a dangerous expedition to discover a northern passage. In his letters to his sister Margaret, he recounts the extraordinary events that befall him and his crew. One of these events is the rescue of Victor Frankenstein, who shares shocking revelations about his experiments in creating life, including a creature that sparks chaos and destruction in its quest for acceptance. The creature's journey through despair, rejection, and vengeance sets the stage for an exhilarating and chilling tale of the dangerous pursuit of knowledge and the consequences it can bring. Will Captain Walton uncover the monster's motives, or will he become a victim of its relentless quest for revenge? I'm a little wary of how this grabs onto Captain Robert Walton, because of the story within a story framework, that this was written in. But um, it could it could probably not be an issue for most of the stories you're going. And at 64 credits, we could run this plugin as many times as we wanted to get the blurb that we like the best. Um, so that is super cheap. And yeah, it's it's not a bad blurb. Um, it just I wouldn't even have mentioned the storyteller. framework. Um, then we have general book blurb, which is created by Nicole. It has medium high credit usage, so we're going to see it. It reads the brain dump genre outline characters and up to 5,000 words of highlighted text. I'm not going to highlight any text because it is a 75,000 word story, and I don't want to have to pick which 5,000 words are most important. So we're just going to let it read the story Bible. And general, here we go, general book blurb. I've used this one a lot, or variations of it. Nicole's written a bunch of book blurb plugins that uh, specialize in different genres. This is the general one, though. And here's a draft book blurb for the story of Frankenstein based on the information provided. Title: Frankenstein, a cautionary tale of scientific ambition. It doesn't always know what the actual title is unless you specifically tell it. In 19th century Geneva, brilliant young scientist Victor Frankenstein becomes obsessed with discovering the secret to creating life. Driven by unchecked ambition, he succeeds in animating a towering, grotesque creature stitched together from cadavers. But when his creation comes to life, it turns to a nightmare beyond imagination. Racked with guilt of the monstrous being he unleashed, Victor returns home only to find his beloved younger brother murdered. Though he suspects his creation is the killer, Victor is paralyzed by fear and unable to reveal the truth. The family's kind-hearted servant Justine is convicted and executed for the crime. This is kind of giving away the entire plot, so I'm not sure we would want to use this as our actual book blurb. It does give us some SEO keywords. If you're unfamiliar with SEO, it stands for search engine optimization. And keywords are the terms that you want to include in your text on in the blurb so that it's searchable when people are looking for, like, if they go on Google and search for Frankenstein, gothic fiction, science fiction, horror, romanticism, morality tale, ethics, or technology. Um, it uses all of those terms in here to make sure that it can be found by those search terms. This one costs 126 credits, so it's a little bit pricier. Um, and I'd say this is more of a synopsis than a blurb, but it could be what you're going for. And it might not always produce this type of result, but that's what it gave us this time. Um, so that's something you can look into. And there was another book description. Um, I am unsure how this one works. It looks at your synopsis and creates a compelling book description. So let's see what it what it tells us here. Amazon description. I wish it would place these in a predictable space. Amazon description. Okay. Experience the chilling tale of Frankenstein or the modern Prometheus, a haunting masterpiece by Mary Shelley. Follow the ambitious young scientist Victor Frankenstein as he becomes consumed by his obsession to unlock the secret of life. Raised in a noble Genevan family, Victor's pursuit of natural philosophy and occult sciences takes him to the University of Ingolstadt, where he creates a creature like no other. But when Victor's creation comes to life, he is horrified by the grotesque being he's brought into existence. Filled with guilt and revulsion, Victor abandons the creature who flees into the night. As tragedy strikes in his family and innocent As tragedy strikes his family and innocent lives are lost, Victor is haunted by the knowledge that he alone bears the responsibility for the creature's actions. In his quest for solace, Victor encounters his monstrous creation once again. The creature pleads for companionship, promising to live peacefully away from humanity if Victor grants his request. Reluctantly agreeing, Victor embarks upon a journey to create a female companion for the creature, but plagued by doubts and fearing the consequences, he destroys his unfinished work, sparking a relentless pursuit of revenge from the vengeful monster. Amidst grief and guilt, Victor relentlessly pursues his creation across treacherous landscapes, facing his own helplessness and the terrifying power of his flawed experiment. As their paths intertwine in this epic battle of wills, both seek resolution through their quest for vengeance or redemption. Um, so this is a rather lengthy blurb. You could there are a couple more paragraphs after that. You could use it in its entirety if you want to give that much information away, or you could probably just pick and choose which of these paragraphs you want to include in there, and even a partial version of it would be pretty good as a blurb um, for your book description. This one costs 2,100 credits to run. And then Amazon keyword selector for your Amazon book page. Um, this plugin helps you generate Amazon specific keywords to use when publishing your story. It does not require any highlighted text. Um, it I do need to update this the way it works. But I'm not going to worry about the highlighted text version of this. You can do it with just your genre and synopsis, and it will come up with the keywords for you. So we're just going to go ahead and run this without any highlighted text, because highlighted text is used to indicate specific keywords that you know you want to use. So Amazon specifically has 7 keyword fields where you can use up to 50 characters per keyword field. And you want to try to maximize the search terms that you include in here, because this is basically what people are typing into Amazon to look for your story. You want those terms to appear in your keyword um, fields. And we have gothic horror, science fiction, ambition, hubris, philosophical tragedy, creating artificial life, monster creator, abandonment, consequences, isolation, scientist, obsession, reanimating corpses, female companion, Arctic pursuit, revenge, murder, newlywed bride, technology, cautionary tale, unchecked ambition, Frankenstein, Shelley, Prometheus, creation, life. Generally, you don't want to repeat the title or the author name. And this does use ambition twice. We don't need to use ambition twice. We'd want to replace that with a more useful word in one of these. But in general, I like to run this plugin a couple of times and then mix and match um, various terms that it comes up with it in the keywords. And then I come up with my own combination to make the best use out of 50 characters per field for those keyword phrases. You want to make sure that the words that would go together when you're searching for something are together in your keyword field. Like you wouldn't want to have um gothic horror separated by other words. You want to make sure they're together. Same with like cautionary tale. You're not going to have cautionary technology tale. You want it to say cautionary tale. Um, and this one costs us 756 credits. So like I said, I like to run it multiple times. I've run it as I've run it like 4 or 5 times for a couple of my stories that are on Amazon. Um, and I've been able to just mash them together and get exactly what I want, because it might leave some of your good search terms out here the first time. So you just want to make sure you find all of the good stuff. Like I said, we have ambition twice, and it mentioned Frankenstein and Shelley and Prometheus here, and we don't need to include any of those because they're already in our author and title fields. So we can put different words in here to make best use of those things. Um, and then for social media content, I know we're at the 10 of, so we will try to get through each of these. Um, First one I wanted to look at is book marketing content generator. This is actually a lot like, I probably should have put it up with our Story Bible based book materials. But we can run this. Let's just check all the instructions again. We're gonna close our plugins that we're not looking at anymore. Okay. Use this book marketing content generator to come up with log lines, taglines, social media posts with photo suggestions. Either paste your synopsis into your Sudowrite document, highlight the text, then run the generator, or just run the generator and it will look at your characters, genre, and outline to produce marketing copy. So we could put the synopsis into the document and highlight it, or we can just run the generator and it's going to look at these Story Bible things to create some marketing copy. So we're just going to run it because it's just easier that way. But you can run it on highlighted text as well. In this case, it only gives us one option for each of these things instead of five. We have tagline, unleash the power of science and uncover the consequences. Enter the world of Frankenstein, where ambition meets tragedy. Logline, in the Gothic horror classic Frankenstein, a brilliant scientist's pursuit of knowledge leads to a creation that defies nature. As his monster seeks acceptance and love, a tragic tale of ambition and responsibility unfolds. Short blurb. Dive into Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a masterpiece that combines gothic horror, philosophical science fiction, and tragic elements. Follow Victor Frankenstein's relentless ambition and the consequences that haunt him as his creation, the misunderstood monster, searches for companionship and understanding. Experience a chilling tale that explores themes of isolation, guilt, and the limits of scientific discovery. Then it gives us our long blurb, which is several paragraphs. Embark on a journey into the depths of human ambition and its devastating consequences in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This timeless masterpiece weaves together elements of Gothic horror, philosophical science fiction, and tragic storytelling to create a haunting narrative that continues to captivate readers to this day. Follow Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant yet tormented scientist driven by his insatiable thirst for knowledge. As he delves into forbidden experiments, he unlocks the secret of life itself, bringing forth a creature that defies nature's laws. But what begins as an ambitious triumph quickly spirals into a nightmare as Victor realizes the horrifying consequences of his creation. Meanwhile, the creature, shunned by society for its monstrous appearance, grapples with its own existential crisis. Yearning for companionship and understanding, it embarks on a quest for acceptance in a world that rejects it. The story delves deep into themes of isolation, guilt, prejudice, and the moral responsibility inherent in wielding extraordinary knowledge. Frankenstein is not just a tale of terror, it is a cautionary tale that forces us to confront our own desires for scientific advancement and reminds us of the moral implications involved. With rich characterizations, atmospheric settings, and thought-provoking themes, Frankenstein stands as a masterpiece that continues to challenge and provoke readers today. And then it has some hashtags for us. It gives us a sample Twitter post with emojis and hashtags. It gives us a Facebook page option, um, Instagram caption, Facebook group post, Goodreads post, and some TikTok captions. Um, so it is a lot like the other plugin that we checked out at the beginning of class. 1,808 credits. The difference is that this gave us one option instead of 5 options for each of these things. So I'm not sure when you might want to use this as opposed to the other one, but I suppose if one of them is not giving you the results that you want, you can always try the other. And that's the nice thing about plugins is that you can do that um, and try out it because maybe one of them gets like understands your concept better than the others. And because we have the social media content that needs to be accompanied by images, um, this plugin that was created by John, very low credit usage. It says highlight some text and run this plugin. It will try to create a great prompt for creating the image with visualize. So this is for use within Sudowrite to use the visualize feature to create an image to go with these promotional posts that you have the captions for in the other places. So let's go ahead and let's take the Instagram thing right here. We are going to start a blank document. And we're going to call this marketing, just so it doesn't give me a weird auto title. We're going to highlight this and we are going to run, crap, what is it called? Image prompt generator. Goldfish brain, and I have this little icon is in my way. It does not get added. It did not get added. Let's try this again. Here we go. Image prompt generator. Extra instructions can be added here.
It's got a little camera on it.
Oh,
The icon is little cameras.
oh, yes, yes. Extra instructions to be added here.
If you had
For,
any, if you wanted something sketchier or doll-like
yeah,
or
uh, dark and dark theme for Instagram post. This is just, let's see how even bad instructions might.
so what you do
Wow.
is you insert it into the chapter and then it's been selected and you run visualize on it. But you have to use it, you have to run visualize. It's so long, you gotta run visualize from the plugins menu.
Wait. So we're gonna take and copy this. We're gonna go back to the marketing page here. We're gonna put this down here. And the prompt is create a dark and atmospheric illustration inspired by gothic horror and philosophical science fiction, capturing the essence of a tragic tale. Focus on a brooding, stormy landscape dominated by jagged mountains under a swirling night sky filled with ominous clouds and flashes of distant lightning. In the foreground, depict a figure cloaked in shadow, embodying both creator and creation, an eerie silhouette of a man standing beside a towering, monstrous form that subtly hints at human. I'm not sure all of this is something that I would want. Um, I
You
would
you might not
need
need it, right? Yeah.
for an image
It's how
description,
much
and I think,
information is image and how much is like interiority.
yeah, this with a grotesque exterior. And sadness, contrasting with ambition intermingled with despair. Shouldn't visualize show up here?
Only if it's small enough. It's still large.
Yeah.
You gotta grab it from the plugins menu.
All right. Oh, let's try this and see what kind of image we get. I don't often use Visualize because I use Midjourney, but if you don't have a subscription to another image generation service, Visualize is right here as part of Sudowrite. And this is interesting. It gave us a monstrous form here. It's not quite story accurate, but we do have quite a feeling of foreboding. And this could be representative of Victor's guilt and ambition looming over him, um, instead of actually having the monster in the picture. So I think that's interesting. I do like the look of it. It captures that gothic horror feel.
I specifically use these in here in order to share and have the image come in
Mhm.
with the object with the shares that we do. And if people in the future are going to be sharing more because with their readers that can leave them notes, it can be useful for that. You can also try these things in ChatGPT. It uses the same kind of DALL-E thing.
Mhm.
So it should, if you can figure out how to prompt it in ChatGPT, it will likely give you a similar thing here. It just can't do anything other than a square here.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can't do like a book cover using Visualize, because it doesn't have the right aspect ratio.
Right. But you could
Although
take it
you
over to
could,
ChatGPT and ask for a long, and it
mhm,
will create a tall one.
or you could crop it to make
Yep.
it the right size too. We also have this TikTok hooks mixed version by Nicole. It reads genre and up to 5,000 words of highlighted text to pull segments for TikTok marketing videos. So you can highlight up to 5,000 words, and it's going to be cheap to run. So we're going to go here and we'll just select a bunch of text once this loads. Okay, we're going to skip the first part. We'll go to letter 2. And okay, we've got under 5,000 words here. So we're going to look for, no, tick. I hate when I hit the add button and it removes it, or vice versa. Back. Let's see. Tick. There we are. Dialogue excerpt. So it includes dialogue from Robert Walton and the stranger, who we know is the creature, uh, the monster. And the TikTok hook is in a heart-stopping revelation, a stranger's tragic past forces, well, an explorer to question his thirst for knowledge and power. Will the quest for dominion over nature's forces prove too costly? So, in your TikTok video, you would probably have the dialogue excerpts as text on the screen and also in voiceover. So that this would be your TikTok hook to get people to watch the video. And this cost us 502 credits. Not bad. And all right, we'll just look at this one last thing that I created for the class. It's similar to the TikTok one, but this is I made it specifically as a video script. Using GPT-4o Mini. It only looks at your story Bible. It does not look at your actual text. So we can go ahead and run it on here. And we'll search for where it is in my list. Book trailer script generator. So we have visual, a stormy night, lightning flashes across the dark sky. The camera zooms in on a solitary figure standing before a flickering laboratory or laboratory, surrounded by eerie shadows and strange apparatuses. That should be apparati, I think. Voiceover. In the depths of ambition lies a curse. Visual. Quick cuts of Victor Frankenstein, intense, disheveled, feverishly working among bubbling beakers and scattered notes, glancing anxiously toward a covered figure on an operating table. Voiceover. Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant scientist driven by insatiable curiosity, uncovers the secret to life. Visual. A close-up of the creature's grotesque hand reaching out as it awakens, Victor recoiling in horror. Voiceover, but in his quest for knowledge, he unleashed a terror beyond imagination. And it goes on to describe each of the different shots or video sequences that you would have and the voiceover that would accompany them in your book trailer. Now, book trailers are not something you have to have, but some authors do like to have them for their stories. They're 60-second videos just to get it's a type of advertisement. And this is just one way to get the script to put together your own book trailer. And this cost us 143 credits. GPT-4o Mini is super cheap and it's pretty quick. So you could run this a couple of times to see which version you like better to create your book trailer. There are some other marketing plugins that I knew we weren't going to get to look at. One of these is John's Spicy Newsletter DeepSeek plugin. It makes something specific for those who write erotica for your newsletters. This is not conducive for just regular use. I don't know if you have your non-spicy version published, John, um, or not.
Say
And
again?
also, I don't know, do you have a non-spicy version of this published?
I don't think I do. I made
Because
this first spicy thing, but you think we should make one that's not spicy?
I was looking at it and thinking that if you just had the stage one of the plugin for non-spicy stuff, that would be great right there too.
Yes, we
Um,
could do that. I could create that. That makes sense.
Because that would be cool. We are going to be doing a class later on about newsletter plugins specifically, so I wasn't going to go too much into it today anyways. But if you'd like to write more newsletter plugins, I am looking forward to that because I can't schedule the class until I have enough plugins to do. Um, and Manon has an email funnel plugin that honestly I couldn't figure out how best to demonstrate it here. Um, so that's why I just linked to it. You can play with that for your email funnel. And I wanted to point out some plugins that we still need. Uh, Tomas was talking earlier about a one sheet, and it would be nice if there was just one simple one sheet generator plugin to give you everything you need for your one sheet when you're going to physical events where you're going to hand these things out. Um, to people who are not just sketchy. Um, I was also thinking that it would be nice to have a pull quote finder to, if you select your text and it could find the best quotes from your text to put in your marketing materials and not like create anything new, just point out what sections best represent the writing. I thought that would be cool. And Manon does have a bunch of different email marketing plugins, but they aren't author or book specific. And we could definitely use some more of those things. Not just for newsletters, but for getting people to sign up for your newsletter, that sort of thing. And Manon, I do love you and your plugins, but your descriptions and instructions are not what I need to understand how to use them. I
So
need more details.
I will put some more details. Some of those plugins, I write them for myself
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
public it as public because eventually I want to make a class on it. Sorry, I will try to put more details on how to use them.
I appreciate that. I could tell that they were basically you wrote them so that you could use them. It just they are public, so it's a little frustrating if you're like, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, I don't know how to use it. But that's something just for all plugin authors. If you're making your plugins public so that other people can see them, it's good to have a description that lets them know what it does and how to use it, even if it's just a couple of sentences. So this was Deep Dive Plugins for Marketing Materials. I hope you learned something today. Um, and again, if you don't mind, if you could leave us a review, we like it. We like those 5-star reviews the best. If you don't think we earned 5 stars, that's okay too. We do love comments, especially if you have suggestions for how things could go better or, why you loved it so much. Either or, you know. And yeah, so that is class for today. And I thank you for coming. We do this every week, Mondays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see you on Discord in between. And this is not what I was going to hit. So, all right, there we go. Bye.